Krishnadevaraya was the greatest emperor of the Vijayanagara Empire who reigned from 1509 to 1530. He is the third ruler of the Tulava dynasty, presiding over the empire at its zenith. He is regarded as an icon by many Indians. Krishnadevaraya earned the titles Kannada Raja Rama Ramana, Andhra Bhoja and Moru Raya Raganda. He became the dominant ruler of the peninsula of India by defeating the sultans of Bijapur, Golconda, the Bahmana Sultanate and the Raja of Odisha. The great South Indian mathematician Nilakantha Somayaji also lived in the empire of Krishnadevaraya. He was the most powerful of all the Hindu rulers of India at that time. Indeed, when the Mughal Babur was taking stock of the potentates of North India, Krishnadevaraya was rated the most powerful and had the most extensive empire in the subcontinent. Portuguese travelers Domingo Paes and Fernão Nunes also visited the Vijayanagara Empire during his reign. Krishnadevaraya benefited from the able Prime Minister Timurusu, who was regarded by the emperor as a father figure and was responsible for his coronation. Krishnadevaraya was the son of Tulava Narasimha, an army commander under Saluva Narasimha Devaraya, who later took control of the empire to prevent its disintegration and became the founder of the Tulava dynasty, the third Hindu dynasty to rule Vijayanagara. The emperor's coronation took place on the birthday of Hindu god Krishna. He built a beautiful suburb near Vijayanagara called Nagalapura. The king was of medium height, had a cheerful disposition, and was reputed to be respectful to foreign visitors, ruthless in maintaining the law, and prone to fits of anger. He maintained himself to a high level of physical fitness through daily exercises. Travel logs indicate that the king was not only an able administrator, but also an excellent general, leading from the front in battle and even attending to the wounded. The Telugu poet Mukku Timmana Nenbi Timmana praised him as the destroyer of the Turks' foreign affairs. The rule of Krishnadevaraya marks a period of much military success in Vijayanagara history. On occasion, the king was known to change battle plans abruptly and turn a losing battle into victory. The first decade of his rule was one of long sieges, bloody conquests and victories. He reorganized the army and recruited his troopers from several South Indian communities like Kabali, Maratha and Tulu in order to make his cavalry efficient in the encounters against the Turks. His main enemies were the Bahmani sultans, the Gajapatis of Odisha, who had been involved in constant conflict since the rule of Saluva Narasimha Devaraya, and the Portuguese, a rising maritime power which controlled much of the sea trade. The feudal chiefs of Umator, Reddys of Kondavaju and Velamasa Bhuvanagiri who rebelled against Vijayanagara rule were conquered and subdued. Success in Deccan. The annual affair of the raid and plunder of Vijayanagara towns and villages by the Deccan sultans came to an end during the Raja's rule. He defeated the last remnant of Bahmana Sultanate power, which led to the collapse of the Bahmana Sultanate. In 1509, Krishnadevaraya's armies clashed with the Sultan of Bijapur at Diwani, and the Sultan Mahmud was severely injured and defeated. Yusuf Adil Khan was killed and the Rachurdurg was annexed. Taking advantage of the victory and the disunity of the Bahmani sultans, the Raya invaded Bidar, Gulbarga and Bijapur and earned the title establisher of the Yavana kingdom when he released Sultan Mahmud and made him de facto ruler. The title advertised the boast that he was now the political arbiter of all the Deccan. The Sultan of Golconda, Sultan Qutb Shah, was defeated by Timurusu, who was the prime minister of Sri Krishnadevaraya. War with feudatories. He subdued local rulers of Velamasa Bhuvanagiri, who were the feudatory of Gajapati kings of Odisha, and seized lands up to the Krishna River. Ganga Raja, the Umature chief, fought Krishnadevaraya on the banks of the Kaveri and was defeated. The chief later drowned in the Kaveri in 1512. The region was made a part of the Srirangapatna province. In 1516 to 1517, he pushed beyond the Godavari River, War with Kalinga. The Surya Vamsi Gajapatis of Odisha ruled a vast land comprising Andhra region, most of Telangana region, the whole of Odisha, parts of present West Bengal, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Krishnadevaraya's successor Tumachur provided the necessary impetus to carry his campaign into the Telangana region, which was in control of Gajapati Pratapa Rudradev. The Vijayanagar army laid siege to the Udayagiri fort in 1512. The campaign lasted for a year before the Gajapati army disintegrated due to starvation. Krishnadevaraya offered prayers at Tirupati thereafter along with his wives Tirumala Devi and Chinnamma Devi. The Gajapati army was then met at Kondavaduraju where the armies of Vijayanagara, after establishing a siege for a few months and heavy with initial defeats, began to retreat, until Timurusu, upon discovering a secret entrance to the unguarded eastern gate of the fort, launched a night attack culminating with the capture of the fort and the imprisonment of the greatest swordsman of his time, Prince Virabhadra, the son of Gajapati Emperor of Kalinga Utkal. Gajapati Pratapruddadeva Saluva Timarasa took over as governor of Kondavaduru thereafter. The Vijayanagar army then accosted the Gajapati army at Kondapalli area and laid another siege. Krishnadevaraya then planned for an invasion of mainland Kalinga Utkal, but the Gajapati Emperor, Prataparudra, privy of this plan, had built up a strategy to rout the Vijayanagara army and along with it its king, Krishnadevaraya. The confrontation was to happen at the fort of Kalinganagar, but the wily Timurusu secured the information by bribing a Telugu deserter, formerly under the service of the mighty Prataprudradeva. Prataprudra was driven to Kartak, the capital of the Gajapati Empire, and eventually surrendered to Vijayanagar, giving his daughter Princess Annapurna Devi in marriage to Sri Krishnadevaraya. As Bhatriti Krishna River became boundary of Vijayanagar and Odisha Kingdom, Krishnadevaraya established friendly relations with the Portuguese, who set up the Portuguese dominion of India in Goa in 1510. The emperor obtained guns and Arabian horses from the Portuguese merchants. He also utilized Portuguese expertise in improving water supply to Vijayanagara city. Final conflicts. The complicated alliances of the empire and the 5 Deccan sultanates meant that he was continually at war. In one of these campaigns, he defeated Golconda and captured its commander Madur-ul-Mulk, crushed Bijapur and its Sultan Ismail Adil Shah, and restored Bahmani Sultanate to Muhammad Shah. The highlight of his conquests occurred on 19 May 1520, where he secured the fortress of Raichur from Ismail Adil Shah of Bijapur after a difficult siege during which 16,000 Vijayanagar soldiers were killed. The exploits of the chief military commander, Pemazani Ramalinga Nayudu, during the Battle of Raichur were suitably rewarded by the grateful emperor. During the campaign against Raichur, it is said that 703,000 foot soldiers, 32,600 cavalry and 551 elephants were used. Finally, in his last battle, he razed to the ground the fortress of Gulbarga, the early capital of the Bahmani Sultanate. His empire extended over the whole of South India. In 1524 he made his son Tirumala Raya the Yuvaraja, though the crown prince did not survive for long. He was poisoned to death. Suspecting the involvement of Timurusu, Krishnadevaraya had his trusted commander and advisor blinded. At the same time, Krishnadevaraya was preparing for an attack on Belgaum that was in the Adil Shah's possession. Krishnadevaraya took seriously ill. He died soon after in 1529. Before his death, he nominated his brother, Achyuta Devaraya, as his successor. The rule of Krishnadevaraya was a glorious chapter in the history of Vijayanagara Empire. Even the ruins at Hampi tell the glorious tale of that mighty empire. Internal affairs. During his reign he kept a strict control over his ministers, who were severely punished for any misdeeds. He abolished some of the obnoxious taxes such as the marriage fee. To increase the revenue, he brought new lands under cultivation by ordering deforestation of some areas. A large-scale work to obtain water for irrigation around Vijayanagar was also undertaken by him. He was tolerant of all religions and showed respect towards Islam and Christianity. Foreign travelers such as Pais, Núñez and Barbosa who visited Vijayanagar speak highly of the efficiency of administration and prosperity of the people during his reign. In spite of his preoccupations with the defense and reorganization of the territories conquered by him, he founded a new town called Nagalapa. Pais summarizes the king's attitude to matters of law and order by the sentence: "The king maintains the law by killing. Offences against property and for murder ranged from cutting of a foot and hand for theft and beheading for murder." Pais could not estimate the size of Vijayanagar as his view was obscured by the hills, but estimated the city to be at least as large as Rome. Furthermore, he considered Vijayanagar to be the best provided city in the world, with a population of not less than 500,000. The empire was divided into a number of provinces, often under members of the royal family, and into further subdivisions. The administrative languages of the empire were Kannada and Telugu. The latter was also the court language. Telugu was a popular literary medium, reaching its peak under the patronage of Krishnadevaraya. Surai remarks that Krishnadevaraya was not only a monarch de jure, but he was also a de facto sovereign with extensive powers and strong personal influence. With the active cooperation of Prime Minister Timurusu, he administered the kingdom well, maintained peace in the land and increased the prosperity of the people. The administration of the empire was carried on along the lines indicated in his Amukta Malayada. He was the opinion that the king should always rule with an eye towards Dharma. His concern for the welfare of the people is amply proved by his extensive annual tours all over the empire, during which he studied everything personally and tried to redress the grievances of the people and to punish the evildoers. With regard to the promotion of the economic progress of his people, Krishnadevaraya says, "The extent of the kingdom is the means for the acquisition of wealth. Therefore, even if the land is limited in extent, excavate tanks and canals and increase the prosperity of the poor by leasing him the land for Lowari and Koru, so that you may obtain wealth as well as religious merit." The Portuguese chronicler Domingo Pais praises Krishnadevaraya as the most feared and perfect king, a great ruler, and a man of much justice. Though a follower of Vaishnavism, he showed respect to all sects, and petty religious prejudices never influenced him, either in granting gifts or in his choice of companions and officers. According to Barbosa, the king allows such freedom that every man may come and go, live according to his own creed, without suffering any annoyance.